Okay, so G Madison the fourth, dancer, choreographer, creative director. You have worked with so many people. I googled it and I can share with you a few of the things just so that people watching, if they have not been familiar with you, you teach online, you teach at convention, you teach around the world, but you also have toured and performed with like Shaka Khan and everybody. I'm just gonna rattle it on. So if you don't mind,
This is
me just
fun.
this is just me just gushing on you is what I like to say. Okay, so Mariah Carey, Alicia Keys, J Lo, which everybody is like, boom, J Lo's like it right now.
I know.
Smokey Robinson, you know what I mean? Tamar Braxton. I mean, so many people. There's a variety of people in there, not just like the hit 'em hard like dance types, but like the R&B like
Yeah.
boom,
Yeah.
So I love your dancing. I love that you teach, and you are a great communicator. And so that's why I wanted to have you on here and just talk about what's been going on with you in the industry. Like, if you want to plug something, go for it. But also to talk about just the shift that's been happening with, obviously it's like a mandatory thing with the, quarantine and curfews and things of that nature. There's so much uprising that's happening, things that are really important in the world. And so this is probably like secondary to all of that, but I feel like it's
Mhm.
important to still talk about. So if you can just share your wealth of knowledge as to what you're doing in this space and how maybe others can partake in that as well.
Well, it's really cool that you're doing this online icon thing. It's kind of cool to be a part of this lineup. But I never thought of myself as an online savvy person. I always paid someone to do it for me, to be honest. I never, because I wasn't really excited about what social media was doing with our craft. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought that there were so many really bad teachers out there right now.
Yeah.
So I've been teaching so long, mostly because I love it, but secondly, because I think a lot of students are literally um, like dying of thirst of knowledgeable teachers. And I put myself in that basket, not because I put myself on a pedestal, but because I have experienced a lot. And I figure that even if I don't have a lot of knowledge, I do have a lot of experience. And I think my experience has developed some level of knowledge as well. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like one before the other. Like I'm not putting myself up like I'm better than. It's just that I know that I care a lot. Huh?
Yeah. No, Lisa said, I love you both. Yes, we love you too,
Oh,
Lisa. I know
yeah,
we're
she
always
is.
like this. Well,
Hey,
I
Lisa.
feel like you're so humble because you do have so much knowledge to give. And just in your experience, just being, putting yourself out there
Mhm.
is just an art in and of itself.
Right. Mhm.
Because there are so many people who have dreams that just don't go after them.
Yeah.
Getting
Right.
out there to an audition or putting yourself out there as a teacher to be judged, like, is this person a good teacher? You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I really appreciate the fact that you are super humble about it because you do have so much to give, but also that you are pushing, into the next frontier, if you will. And online space has been there for a long time. And it's funny
Right.
that you said that you paid somebody to do it because I used to pay people to do it too. Um, but now you kind of do have to do it yourself. Like, you just texted me or on DM'd me on Instagram before here and was like, is this the right handle? You know what I mean? Like, you are doing that for yourself. And it's not like you have a publicist out there and like,
Right.
handling for it and just handing you the phone and saying, okay, you're on,
Right. Right.
like, people in the industry are having to do those type of back end things for themselves. So how do you learn the platforms, or which is your favorite to use?
Well, I think people appreciate, being so hands-on with it. So I think they appreciate this thing, which is why Instagram, I think, was created, was because everyone wants their own TV show, right? And you deserve your own. I know. What do you mean? No, I mean, I do too. Everyone who has some talent and has something to say and also has some skill, I think we want to be able to communicate with our industry, with our community, and we want to do it on our terms. And we may not have a Netflix deal, but we can definitely use what we're given, our resources. So I like to use Instagram to connect, but I don't always put my personal stuff on Instagram. I do it on like my stories,
Mm-hmm.
but my Instagram account is really based on my work, really based
Yeah.
on, you know, and it's not until this last 3 weeks that I actually used it as in a space of activism. So just because of the temperature, the racial temperature in our country this last month, I mean these last few years, but especially now, I started to use my platform for a different reason, and I never wanted to do that, but I figure I have a few thousand people that are tuning in to my channel to see what I'm up to. And I figure if they're going to tune in, here's what I'm about right now. And dance, honestly, has been difficult for me. Anything entertainment has been difficult for me right now because
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to deter people from what is important. So I also don't want to misuse my gift of teaching, of speaking, of dancing and performing, training artists. Like that's a gift and a talent and a dream of mine. So I want to use that to inspire people to do something with their gift. And so, for example, you're this beautiful, smart, talented, skilled person that should be using your gifts to do that, you know? And if you're going to use it to do what you're doing now, great. If you're going to use it to go speak at a rally, do that, you know? But I feel like it's beautiful when people use their gifts to make a change. And man, I guess one of my gifts is that people follow me sometimes. And I should use that moment to say, hey, look at this. I know you like my dancing and all that's cool. Thank you. But not but and look at this. And look
Mm-hmm.
what's happening in the world. And I would be remiss if I deterred you from learning something about yourself and about your neighbor and about your friends, basically just to give me a few likes, because I did a whoa, or I did like a cool dance move that
Yeah.
you liked, you know. And I think that's the distraction that we're so used to. Just we're like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. You know, we're just so distracted all the time, and there's not
Yeah.
one thing that we actually look at for what it's worth, and
Yeah.
then put it to the side. You know, so yeah,
The interesting part about this, and I don't remember if you saw, I'm forgetting his name right now, but there was a red carpet award show not too long ago, um, and it was raining in LA or something, and people were putting like Instagram versus reality, right? And what you're basically saying right now is that Instagram is being used for reality, you know, and people are using their profiles to be more authentic and not just show like, hey, we are happy all the time, you know what I
right,
mean? Like we are showing everything that's going on with us in addition to our gifts and all, you know, what we can give to, you know, our audience or our followers.
yeah,
I think that it's important for people to know that like you don't have to use your Instagram for anything but what you want it to be used for, or you don't
yeah,
have to be on Zoom. You can do on-demand classes. You can wait for, you know, studios to fully open. But I think that what I'm trying to um, give people in these kinds of conversations is the option, right? Is
yeah,
that you can be online, or you can be in a hybrid class, or you could strictly dance from home, or you could wait for your local gym to open, or whatever you want to do. What do you think is like the number one thing that is either a difficult part of teaching online or a solution that you found to a problem of you know, being connected
yeah,
or staying connected? Like, is
yeah.
there anything that you can offer in that space?
Yes, I think a lot of the teachers that have been teaching for so long that maybe weren't connecting with their students as well,
Mm-hmm.
this maybe exercises a muscle for them to reach out
Mm-hmm.
and be more communicative of their movement, and
Mm-hmm.
why they're moving that way, why they picked this song, why they picked this movement, some notes that they could give, some pointers to make the move, the texture a little bit more closer to what they're wanting. Because so often uh, choreographers step in the teacher position and they stop teaching. They just start showing moves. And
Right.
I think
Right.
students come to class to be taught, like to be trained, to be, you know, raised up into their new level. And if they just walk out with a really cool routine under their belt that they'll never do again, um, I don't know. There is some growth there, but it's very, very small. And I think this medium actually teaches, it gives those teachers an opportunity to learn how to communicate again, you know, and because there's no back and forth. So it's really going to be really boring for you to turn on your camera and just like, okay, you're going to step with your left, and then you're going to step with your right, and then you're going to go, you're going to look to your, you know, like it's very dry. And that's how a lot of students have come to me and gone, gee, oh my gosh, breath of fresh air, because you actually show care. And not that other people don't, but showing care is why this is a service industry, you know. And I feel like teachers now, when they turn on this phone and there's no communication there, it's just everyone's on mute and the teacher's on loud. It's like a moment to like, what do I do? What do I say? And so hopefully those teachers who were having a hard time communicating and connecting, maybe this exercise is a muscle that makes them explain more and talk more and be more interactive, and remembering that this is a service industry. You know, teaching is a service. It's not this like you came to me and you know, lucky you that you can't, you know, that I'm here. And I think that's a cool feeling to have that confidence, but it also sucks to be a teacher is literally kind of twiddling their thumbs, you know, it's word spoken. You know, not every teacher is animated, and so I'm not trying to say that every teacher needs to be like me, or every teacher needs to be a, you know, Wayne Brady, you know, and has to be like always entertaining. But I do think it is our job to reach them, and this phone situation, this online thing, does make it more difficult. So I think it can challenge them to get a little better and actually feel, oh wow, maybe when the time changes, that muscle would have been exercised enough that I'll reach out to my students more when I'm in the same room as them now. I can reach out to them and go, hey, that was good. Hey, try this, because they're exercising that muscle of communication. So this might help those teachers, but it's difficult. It is difficult to touch people, to feel people, especially when like I'm talking to you now and maybe there's a delay, or you know, maybe there's a different energy between us, you know, because you're there, I'm here, but we do our best. I feel like this technology gives us an opportunity to lean in, so to speak, you know, to really lean into people, you know, to like
Yeah.
lean in, yeah, to like really
Well,
care, you know,
yeah.
care more. And that should be the teacher's position, is to care more, not to have, you know, garnish this really amazing resume. And that makes you, you know, sit here like, no, come to work. You expect dancers to come to work, you come to work too. So um,
Exactly. Well, and
this
what you're talking
medium makes it
about,
easier to do that.
exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about when you go to a class, doesn't matter what studio, and the person comes in and they're 15 minutes late, and all they do is stay in the mirror, and you know that whole vibe, I think, has been taken away because a lot of teachers are grateful that people are showing up. You know what I
Yes,
mean? That, because
yes,
there's way more classes to partake in
yeah,
online
yes,
than there would be in person, because
yeah,
every teacher has hopped on. Well, not every teacher. Some people are reluctant to do so, but a lot of teachers have hopped online. Even some, you know, Emmy-winning choreography types have
yeah.
developed businesses because of this shift. So it's very interesting to see, you know, the ones that you may have, you know, taken their class before and never even had them look at you, and now they're having to look at the camera and going, "Did you get that?" You know what I mean? So
And
it's
actually look, and actually watching people, you know,
mm-hmm.
actually, and even though there's a delay, they're actually so leaned in. And yeah, I do think that this time, this online virtual class era, does hopefully make teachers really grateful, you know, when people show up, you
Yeah.
know, really grateful, not only because people think they're cool, but because we have other options. And this allows us to click on you and to take your class, and then click on another one, take their, like, it's so easy. We don't have to get in our car and drive, You know, we're not doing the whole line up and hug situation like we always do after class. It's
Yeah.
just we take a class. It's very robotic in that way,
Yeah.
but it also gives people a chance to see like how many people showed up for me today, or how many people showed up for them today. I think that's another way of thinking about it. Is that whenever I teach to my students, I tell them, you know, good for you. You know, thank you for coming. Thank you for taking me seriously. But man, your career thanks you for taking this seriously. Because you could be on the couch. It could just be you and Pinkberry this whole quarantine. You know, and that would be really cute. You'd be, oh man, I miss Pinkberry too. You'd be fat and sassy. You know, but you wouldn't have grown. So a lot of my students are like, oh my gosh, how do I get better? And some of them stop taking. Honestly, I've heard this often. I'm glad you asked that. A lot of students stopped taking online classes because they felt that it was harder to grow in this medium.
Yeah.
So I've been encouraging them that a little bit of growth is better than no growth. You know, one step forward is better than two steps back, or no steps forward. You know, and because time is still passing, I feel like people took like this as a pause in time, but time is still passing. We're still getting older. Things are still happening, not like they used to. But this is not an opportunity to sit back and watch the sunset forever. You know, I mean, definitely take a break here when you can. But yo, time is still going. Don't miss it.
Right. Well, and the other thing that I think has been happening that has not really been offered before is a lot of the teachers who are teaching online, and I don't know if you're offering this as well, but they are taking the time to do one-on-one coaching, which is a little different than you know, the typical lifestyle of someone in the entertainment industry like yourself who, you know, auditions and then teaches and then books jobs and works and then comes back to the, you know, that whole kind of full circle, not necessarily having a lot of time to do one-on-one coaching. But in the online space, a lot of teachers have been offering one-on-one mentoring and, you know, private Zoom classes and things like that. So even if you didn't feel like you were getting it in your, you know, group class, you could probably find someone to, you know, give that one-on-one attention that you may not even have in normal times, right?
Yeah. I really, one-on-one has been my favorite. I mean, when I work with, let's say, any kind of major artist, when I work with them on their movement for a video or for a tour, it's always one-on-one. And I feel like, you know, I have a lot of clients that I've been working with, you know, for artist development. That's been my bread and butter for a long time now, like developing rappers and singers and live poets and things like that, really training them, and even groups, boy bands, girl groups, and really training them to learn their craft. Online has not been a part of that market for me until obviously this quarantine happened. And man, it's actually where I think I shine is with a one-on-one, and that's something that I bring to my group classes is a one-on-one feeling where everyone gets feedback in my group class. Obviously, when I'm teaching a convention of 300, it's difficult, but you know, I really like to make it personal, because that's what people came for, their personal experience of dance and expression. They didn't come for, I didn't come to this class for your, you know, expression. I came for my expression to get better at it for myself. So I haven't done that a lot during this quarantine time, only because a lot of students have come to me to want to do that, and a lot of times it glitches and it goes offline, and it's been difficult. I could probably push through that and do it anyway. I got actually in my DMs today, I got about 4 people hitting me up saying, "Do you do privates?" And I think they're trying to do it in person, which I haven't yet been comfortable with just yet. But I may try it again a couple times. It's just like I'm gonna be like this on the screen, watching. Okay. Make a left. Okay, put your right foot down. Yeah, a little bit further, you know, and it might be a little difficult and a little comedic, but I might try it. I might try it.
Well, you know what I have seen, and I don't know if it was Chloe Arnold or one of the other instructors when I saw their setup was what it might be Jennifer Hamilton. One of the I'm totally blanking, but a huge screen, like TV screen, so that each square, you know, from like Zoom was way bigger than you would see on like your
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So all that, technology and cables connecting to I'm sure there's some way to do it, but I was like,
Yeah.
so that she's not, straining so much to see. And that's, I mean, it's kind of
Yeah.
like evolution of all of what's happening. I just feel like there's gonna be so much more technology to assist teachers to see their students better, than us
Yeah.
just literally being like, are you there? Or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like when I teach at Edge, I teach twice a week at Edge on their online virtual segment, and they put up a big screen there, so I can do the same thing there. It's really cool. It's just very delayed, and it's not to put down teaching online. It's just can be very tricky and very glitchy, and it's not very easily. The response is tricky to connect with, but it's definitely possible. There's definitely room for growth. I work with some actors, working with my nephew a little bit online, and it's been tricky, but definitely possible. A lot of people think because it's tricky, it won't happen, and that can be a way of going about it, but I don't think there's growth in that mindset.
Yeah. Well, I just feel like if we put it out there, like, yo, tech industry, this is what we're dealing with, fix it, then maybe people will watch
Yeah.
it and say,
Yeah.
maybe there's a way we can fix that, and it might not be the service, whether it's, your cable, it might literally be,
Hmm.
the program that, or the software that people are using that, can
Right.
be upgraded or whatnot. And that's really
Yeah.
what I feel like some of these conversations should be doing, is informing, the other side of the industry who's providing this. And I know that it's like Zoom was not created for dancers to be like, hey,
Right. Right.
it was like for a meeting, right? So maybe there will be some competition here in the future where it's like, hey, this is the platform that doesn't have delay, that continues on even when like my feed stops, like, I just feel like if we put it in the ether, manifest destiny,
Yes.
like it
Yes.
will happen, so
Yeah. Of course. Of
oh,
course.
yeah.
I'm all about that, trying to keep things evolving. There's an app that I've been developing for about 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
It's been difficult to get it popping off because I can give you 6 huge reasons that we can talk about later. But I'm excited about it because it's a tool for students that are looking for dance classes. And right now a lot of them are happening online. And
Mm-hmm.
what tool do we have to find them besides Google and Instagram, searching and searching and searching and hoping that your teacher posts it online? There's got to be a one-stop shop for us. And so I've been wanting to develop things like that. And I think it happens in times like you're saying, if we say it, we speak it, and someone hears it, or the universe responds and puts it in someone's brain right there, or in another country, maybe in your house, or maybe in another space. But I think that just wanting something actually can sometimes create it. And
Yeah.
I was traveling all over the place, and I wanted to jump in a dance class in every country I landed in, and it was difficult for me because finding a dance class wasn't easy. Unless I knew a cool dancer that lived there. Like
Yeah.
if I knew a dancer, then they would just tell me where to go. But
Mm-hmm.
there's so many studios out there that are not the biggest studio in the world, but do have some amazing teachers there. And I think those unspoken heroes that are still training dancers secretly and privately should be available and a little bit more visible for us to get there. So
Right.
it's coming soon. I'll let you know about it, and hopefully you'll download it. But it's for everyone who wants to move. It's not just professional dancers. It's
Right.
it's dance moms. It's dance teachers that want to jump in someone's class and aren't just going to go to the same studio they always go to. There shouldn't be a monopoly in this in art. It
Right.
should be an abundance.
Well, hopefully, I mean, we're gonna do the virtual conference like we did this year. It was on June 1st, but we're gonna do
Okay.
it next year. So hopefully, you can present your app.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
that'd be
you.
awesome.
I'll
Yeah.
let you
So
know.
everyone can find you. I know I took way more than 10 minutes. So everyone can find you at G Madison 4, the number
Mhm.
4 on Instagram. And then hopefully you'll be posting your classes, as well. I saw your Edge class, or was it Edge or there was another studio that you teach for.
Oh yeah, I taught recently at the House. Shout
Mhm.
out to the House Studio.
Mhm.
It's in Agora Hills, and then I also teach at Edge. This is all virtual classes right now,
Mhm.
and Millennium has had me in a few times. I was doing Debbie's for a while, so I'm kind of like all over the place. I'm going to be traveling out of the country soon in October, so I'm going to be basically. This is the first time I'm actually putting it online, but I'm going to be moving to Australia in October.
Woo! Okay.
Yeah, so it's very exciting. A lot of my students want to slap me right now for
Yeah.
leaving,
Well,
but
you can hop over and visit Periscopal over there, right?
yeah, she's there. Yeah,
New Zealand?
she's in New
Somewhere?
Zealand, not too far,
Yeah.
not too far.
New
And it's
Zealand.
just, I mean, this world is so beautiful, and
Yeah.
this time is so scary and really hurtful. And so I'm hoping that we can all create new avenues like this. So I appreciate you for creating avenues for people to learn and laugh and be a part of something that's in growth, not in decay. So I appreciate you so much for just using your talent and your ideas. Like this idea came to you to do this and you're doing it. A lot of people get ideas and they don't move on it, you know. So shout out to those of you who are sitting on some ideas that just are too afraid to do it. You know, you don't want to do the work. It's just like me moving to Australia. It sounds great, but it's a lot of work. It goes packing, 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 and then packing some more. But you know, just changing everything, cutting things off, and bringing things on, and traveling to another country and starting something different. It's not easy, but you know, I think hard work is something that we all run from. But man, on the other side of that, you know, I don't like going to the gym, but I love the response that my muscles have. I love walking around, you know, in my towel, feeling like I did something. You know, like it feels good. So you have to earn that. It takes work. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No shortcuts.
No shortcuts, but we will see you online, if not in person,
I hope
very
so.
soon. Yes. And
Yeah.
at G Madison 4, the number 4, if you want to keep up with his travels,
I can't wait to travel again. I miss it. Yeah.
Yeah. Stay safe out there, healthy,
You
and we will
too.
catch up with you soon. Bye.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. See
See you
you.
later.
Bye.
Peace.